So we just did the rollbacks. Okay, the next set of moves is press. This is called press, roll, separate, withdraw, and push. Okay? It's a bunch of moves, but again, we don't have to move the feet, so we don't have to worry about coordinating the feet with it. So let me do this from the front so you can see it better. So after we do the rollback, first thing we're going to do, this left hand, instead of just coming back to hold the ball, you're going to kind of scoop up some air a little bit. And then you're going to take this cloud of air and squeeze it down, compressing it down. I'll often talk about this cloud of hair as being like a cloud of cotton candy. And you're compressing it down till you've got it so compressed and focused that this cloud has become like this little tic-tac at your wrist. Okay? So after the last rollback, left hand is going to gather up some air, squeeze it together until your wrists cross. So your wrists are going to cross, so they're kind of in a shape of an X. Next thing you're going to do is you're going to squeeze your wrists together a little bit more. So you're going to squeeze your wrists together, and that brings the elbows in, and then just shift the weight forward and press. Okay? And that's press. So let's do that again. Roll back, left hand gathers up some air, squeeze the air together. Everything, your whole being, squeezing this together so your whole being gets focused behind that connection point. Squeezing the wrists together and squeeze them together a little bit more and shift the weight forward and press. So you'll notice the palms of my hands are facing each other, so the back of the wrist is what's pressing out. Okay? Now the idea with this, if I turn this a little bit, the idea with this is after I've squozen, I want to get my whole body unified and integrated behind this point so that when I shift the weight forward, this press is not happening with my arms. You'll notice my elbows hardly straighten, okay? The press is coming from the whole body shifting forward. All right? So let's do that again. I'm going to do it from the front again just so you can get this view. So after the last rollback, left hand gathers up air, squeeze the air together to the wrists. All the weight is still on the back foot. Then squeeze the air together, squeeze the wrists together some more. This squeezing the wrists together, it's kind of bringing in the elbows, but you want that to come out squeezing here, okay? So I'm going to squeeze the wrists together, shift the weight forward, and press. All right? So let's do it from the real direction. Let's say we've just done roll back, forward, and the last roll back. Roll back to the left. Left hand is going to continue gathering up air, squeeze the air together. Everything down to the wrist. Press the wrist together a little bit more, and then shift the weight forward for press. Okay? So the next move, I'll do it from all the angles when we do all the moves together. The next move after press is called roll and separate. So the roll is keeping that connection point at the wrists and pivoting the wrists until the palms are facing up. All right? One of the imageries that can be used with this move is that it's like a full moon rising in the hands. So you can imagine cupping the full moon or cupping a sphere in your hands. You want to make sure the palms are facing up and not out like this, because then you're going to drop the moon. So after the press, pivot the wrists, palms facing up. Next is separate. To separate, we need to bring the fingers together, and then hands are going to separate out to shoulder width apart. Okay? So let's do that again. After the press, roll, pivoting the wrist, palms facing up, fingertips come together, hands separate. The last little bit is push. So you get the hands out to about shoulder width apart, and your arms are going to settle in almost like you're acting like a zombie here, okay? Not that the arms are way out here, nice and relaxed. We're going to shift the weight back, sitting down onto the back foot. When we sit down onto the back foot, you want to stay nice and upright. You don't want to do this or this, okay? We want to sink back and then just sit down, almost as if you're sitting on a bar stool. Elbows are going to settle a little bit, and the wrists are just going to drop just a little bit, settling in. And then shift the weight forward and push. Again, you'll notice that this push did not come from my arms. I'm settling down and then shifting forward. And the push happens because I'm shifting forward. Okay? So let's do all of that from the front. Roll back. Gather up air, squeeze the air together at the wrists, press together, shift the weight forward, press. Roll, pivoting the wrist, full moon rising in the hands, fingertips come together, hands separate. This imagery is the full moon setting, out to about shoulder width, withdraw, rooting down. So it's like you're sitting down into the back foot, elbows settle, wrists settle. And then shift the weight forward to push, almost like you're pushing someone on a swing. All right? Let's do it from the real direction. Roll back, down and back to the left. Left hand gathers up air. Squeeze the air together to the wrists. Press the wrists together and then shift the weight forward. Press. Roll, pivoting the wrists, palms facing up or the full moon rising in the hands. Fingertips come together, hands separate. Full moon sets. Withdraw, rooting down, elbows and wrists settle. Shift the weight forward and push. Let's do it from this angle. Roll back, down and back to the left. Left hand gathers up air, squeezing the air together at the wrists. Press the wrists together and shift the weight forward. Press. Roll, pivoting the wrists. Fingertips together, hands separate. Withdraw, rooting down, elbows and wrists settle. Shift the weight forward and push. And from this side, after the roll back, left hand gathers up air, squeezing the air together at the wrists. Press the wrists together, shift forward for press. Roll, pivoting the wrists. Fingertips come together, hands separate. Withdraw, rooting down, elbows and wrists settle, and then shift the weight forward and push. And again, we've done it from this direction, but let's do it one more time. Roll back, gathering up the air, squeeze the air together to the wrists, press the wrists together, shift the weight forward and press. Roll, pivoting the wrists, fingertips together, hands separate, withdraw, rooting down, and push. Okay? So that's a whole bunch of moves. You'll be confused by the jumble of moves to begin with. So that is, I said before, to practice one move at a time. This is one exception where you might want to group those moves together because there's nothing else going on with the feet. But you might want to group those moves together and just do that whole set of moves over and over again. Okay? So take all of that as one move. All right? So that is, after the roll back, that's press, roll, separate, withdraw, and push. Okay?